So I had an interesting scenario, and I've heard about this quite a bit, but I've never actually had the scenario happen to me. So me and my wife were driving through a coffee place, just a drive-through place to get coffee the other day. And when I pulled up to the register, the girl was like, "This has already been taken care of. The person in front of you bought your coffee for you."
Hmm.
So, I've been hearing about the pay it forward thing for quite a while. I know people do it, but it shocked me because I never had it done before and I didn't expect it. And I just said, "Thanks, that's awesome." And then I drove off. Does that make me a dick, for one, for not paying it forward to the next person behind me? But I also feel like that's like a whole thing because then you have to, what if the person behind you has like 10 drinks? It's like $60 or something, I don't know. I don't know if it's cool to just accept it and move on, but I also feel like it's kind of a crappy thing for the business because then they have to keep track of like who's paying for whose stuff all the time if it just keeps going down the row.
All right. Okay. Is that the rule though? Is someone does it for you and then you're supposed to do it for the next person?
I mean, it's a non-written rule. I mean, I think everybody just kind of knows that you're just supposed to kind of pass it along.
Had you had any interaction with the car in front of you prior to them paying for your coffees?
No. No.
What do you think was the reason they did it other than simple kindness?
I think that's all it is. I think it's just kindness.
But why?
Just because it's
But
early. I mean,
why?
well, okay, it's early in the morning, and if somebody
Yeah.
paid, if you pull up there and you had your coffee paid for, it just kind of a little good jolt to spark, or a good little spark for the beginning of your day. And I did. I enjoyed it. It was awesome, and I will probably pay it forward at some point again. But it's always just in the back of my head. I mean, I guess a coffee spot isn't that bad of a place to do something like that. But if you're like McDonald's, you don't know if the person behind you bought 5 bags worth of stuff for 12 kids at home or something. You don't know. And you're not going to know until you, and then it makes you even more of a dick if you're like, "Can you tell me how much the people stuff behind me costs?" Then I think you look even worse.
I don't think you're a dick.
Okay.
And here's why. How many homeless encampments are there in your hometown?
None, I don't think.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
not a dick.
it's still very
You're not
few.
a dick. That person didn't have the opportunity to go find someone who was in need and give them a coffee or give them $5 or whatever the case may be. Now, in this situation, I also don't think the person who did it for you is a dick. However, if we were 5 minutes away from my house and someone did that for me at Starbucks, I would kindly tap on the window and say, "Hey, why don't you go take this to someone who really needs it? Because they're right over there. They're right over there. You can see them. They clearly need it." I'm driving a car.
Now, okay, now
They're living in a shopping cart. Go give them
to
the
go
five
to go back to
dollars.
what you just said a minute ago, you said that the people in front of me that bought the coffee for me that they're not a dick. I
No,
never
very
thought that.
nice.
No, yeah, I never thought that. I
They're a
didn't think
dick if
they
they
were doing
do it
it
in
because
St. Louis.
I see what you're saying. Okay, okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense. But no, I was like,
yeah.
I don't think they're a dick. I think they're just trying to be nice, and I get it. But I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting question because it's like, do you? I was just shocked by it because I've never been in that situation before,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I felt bad when I pulled away, and then to see that it was just one guy in the car that bought one coffee behind me, I probably should have bought his.
I disagree.
You know,
It'll be okay.
it
It'll
is
be
what.
okay.
Okay, all right.
But I like the general idea of being kind to a stranger. I think that's great. But, you know, I don't know. There's a I've seen scenes, and I know this is not reality, but just go with it for a minute. But I've seen several scenes in television shows where you're seeing that where like someone will be sitting having breakfast by themselves and then they'll go, person will bring the check and say, "Hey, it's been taken care of by that person down there." And the person just can't quite, well, why did you do that? Are you hitting on me? Is this a gay thing? Is this a, like, what is this? And the person's just like, "No, I'm just being kind." And you think, well, this is just put on for TV. But in reality, that level of kindness rubs people the wrong, it confuses people in real life.
Yeah, but also in a restaurant, that's a little different than in a.
It's a bold move. It's a bold
Yeah,
move.
it okay,
But
it is, but it's not as bold if you're just like in a line at a coffee shop because you're not probably ever going to see the person again or even meet the person, talk to the person or anything that was in front of you in line in the in their car. A restaurant is like That's definitely a like, are you hitting on me kind of thing? Like you bought my beer
Uh,
from across the bar or something like that.
well, we're not. I'm talking about a bagel and a coffee or a
Okay.
muffin or
Okay. All right.
I
All
don't
right.
know. But I just think that level of kindness. Well, first of all, it can go a long way, but second of all, it confuses people because people generally just aren't kind. That's reality.
Yeah.
There's this dude that has somehow arrived in my algorithm. It's this guy. He does YouTube videos and he's young. He's probably like 20 years old, to be honest with you. He just walks up to people in malls and Walmarts and goes, "Hey, I'm having a bad day. Can I have a hug?" And you get mixed reactions to that, obviously. You
Yeah.
get, and I've noticed something. The people who are always like, "Yeah, sure," are older African American women. I'm telling you, I'm
Interesting.
gonna I'm gonna do my own study and I'm just gonna keep
Okay.
track. I'm just gonna
Okay.
keep a tally of the amount of times that it's like the willing embrace comes from an older African American woman. They're like, "Get in here. You're having a bad day. I hope it gets better."
Yeah.
Right? Which is interesting to think about. And I know it's just for YouTube, and maybe the dude really is through the videos. I mean, I think in a lot of ways it shows who people are, and it shows it's a case study within itself of like how do strangers react to the need for kindness and the need to get that sort of reaction from strangers like I'm simply having a bad day, can you make it better?
But also,
It's
downside to that
interesting.
is if you're the person who is being asked for a hug, you also have a phone in your face or some kind of video camera in
There's
your
a
face.
person behind them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makes it weird. But how else are you going to spread that word without posting it, filming it, and recording it and posting it on social media? You know,
But is the overall reason to spread joy on social media doing this, or is it just something easy that this guy can do and get views?
I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit of both. I would like to
Okay.
think that it's about the kindness, but I don't know. I don't know. I think but it's interesting to see. And I'm one of these. Okay. So more in the homelessness situation in St. Louis has really, really gotten out of control. And I don't mean that in the sense where I'm complaining about it. What I simply mean is it's a lot. It's a lot more than, let's just take it back to when I first started driving, okay? And seeing homeless people in the city. So what I always did is I would carry food in my car, granola bar, something like that, right? So if someone did walk up, I don't have any cash, but I can give you this. I can give you this unopened bottle of water. Here's a Diet Coke. I haven't opened it. You want it? Something like that. And most times they'd be like, "Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'll take that for sure." You
Hmm.
know, which again, this is just my own personal thing. This is my theory. I think that goes a lot further than you giving them 75 cents.
Yeah.
Just my theory. Now again, I'm not going to speculate what is the person going to do with the 75 cents? Are they going to collect and collect until they can go get drugs or go get booze? Whatever. Not my business. That's why I'd rather, here's something you can have now.
Yeah. Right.
Here's a granola bar to get you through the next hour and a half
Yeah.
until you get your $5 that you need to get your fix or whatever the case may be. So I've always done that. And I remember I've said that to people and they go, "Man, that's crazy. Why do you do that? You're going to get shot over a granola bar." I'm like, I understand that, but at the same time, I'm willing to spread some sort of giving it back or paying it forward or whatever kindness to someone who would be appreciative of something that cost me less than $1 in
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things. To make them feel good for 5 minutes, fine, I can do that. Am I going to get the Mercedes behind me a coffee? No, they can fuck right off. Get it yourself.
Yeah.
That's just, so whatever. But I get it. I don't think you're a dick. I don't think that person's a dick. Good gesture, you know.
Yeah.
But this made me think about I had, I was thinking about something the other day because I had a dream about it actually. Do you ever have, do you have moments that you have lived that you wish you could go back and do differently? I don't mean like major life-changing moments, but
Hmm.
moments that like in the moment they kind of like shook you or 5 minutes later you were like, "Ah, fuck. I wish I
Yeah.
had said this or I wish I had done this or
Right.
I wish I had called this person or because I had a
Yeah.
dream about one that I've thought about for a long time that happened to me. I don't know if I've told you this on the show. I don't even know if I've told you this. So when I was 18, 19, I was in a mall by myself. I was getting myself a pair of shoes actually. And there
That
was
sounds
this,
right.
yeah, there was this sneakerhead. There was this kid. He was probably about 12, 13 at the most. He was in a store by himself looking at stuff. His mom, and I saw the whole interaction because I was walking out. I was like across the mall. You know, like malls have like balconies, and you see over
Mhm.
one balcony, there's the other balcony, you see the other stores. So, but this is a moment where this is not the moment I had a dream about, but let me just tell you this is a moment where I was like, okay, I don't have to question this. But so I see this interaction. The mom goes in the other store, right? Kid's in there by himself. This kid's he had like albino scars on his face. Okay. Like he had like, not scarring, but he had big white patches on his face. Some were
Okay.
brown, whatever. And there were these 3 to 4 other kids that were probably about 16, 17, just butchering this kid, just making fun of him, bullying him, I guess is the best word to use. Now, I'm going down the escalator and I see this start happening, and I'm like, no. So I go back up and I just said to the kid, I go, hey, are you here by yourself? He goes, no, my mom's in the other store. And I go, do you want to go to the other store right now? Are these guys bothering you? And then one of the kids popped off to me. And I said, hey, why don't you just leave them alone? Right.
Mhm.
The kid started mouthing off to me. So I said, hey, you can stay here and I'll leave, but I feel like you're uncomfortable right now. And I could see it in his face. You know, that you can see when someone's like that upset, they're trying not to cry. That's what I
Mhm.
saw in this kid. And that's what really shook me.
Mhm.
And I just said, hey, why don't we go walk over to your mom? And then you can come back with her, or I'll stay here with you if these guys are bothering you. And they're like, what the fuck you gonna do? Like that whole thing. And so I said, you guys need to get away from this kid. And I just stared at him. And I'm not tough, and I was definitely not tough then, but I felt for this kid. And then so one of the kids gets up in my face, and I grab the kid by his shirt, right?
Mhm.
And now keep in mind, I'm like 19. I know these kids are younger than me, so what I'm doing probably isn't right. It's probably not, in the eyes of the law, not
Yeah.
a good thing, right?
Mhm.
So I had the kid by the shirt, and I'm just waiting for him to do something. I'm looking at his friends, and then the kid is standing behind me, and he's like tapping me on the back, like, "No, stop, it's okay, stop." I'm like, "That's not okay." And then the people in the store called the police. One of the people working in the store came up, put his arm in between me and the kid, right? Cops come. So cops come in, they have the four separated from me. They have me, and then they have the kid on his own. And then the mom has since returned to the store. And the kid's trying to explain to the cops and the mom what's going on. Cops are like, "Hey, we gotta we gotta take you out of here." I'm like, "I'm being arrested. We gotta take you out of here." So put me and the other 4 kids in handcuffs, escorting us down the escalators outside the door. We get to the car. Cop leans in. He goes, "You're not being arrested. Okay, just wait here." Right?
Mhm.
He's like, "The mom and the kid both explain what happened. Just wait here. Wait it out till we get these kids out of here." Because it did start, it started a ruckus, if you will, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And I never had it in my mind that I was going to do anything physical to anyone. I just saw the pain in this kid's face. I was like,
Mhm.
I gotta do something because no one else is. There were people in the store watching it happen, and I was like, a kid's not like, I don't know if they were going to kick the kid's ass. I don't know if anything was going to happen other than just making the kid feel like shit about himself. You
Do we
know,
know do we know if this kid knew the other kids or if these
he
were
did not. He
so
did
these were
not.
God,
Just random.
those kids did not get parented well. Just
No,
just random kids in a mall just picking on a younger kid. That's ridiculous.
If I told you where I was, you're not going to know, but people would know. They would
Okay.
understand the behavior. So
Is it a
I
mall that's
don't,
still open?
oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it's still there. So the other kids didn't end up getting arrested either, but they basically escorted them to basically the other side of the mall where the Metrolink station was. How did you get here? You got to go. You're not allowed back in the mall today. Get out of here. That type of thing. So it ended up being really a non-issue for anyone as far as the law goes. And they, you know, let me out of the car. They said, "Hey, you got to leave too. By the way, you
Right.
don't think you're going back in." I'm like, "All right, I'm out of here."
You ain't
That's all
getting
I
your
want to
shoes
do.
today, bro.
That's that's all I want to do is get out of here. It's fine. And I was like, am I banned from the mall? They're like, just leave. Just understand that you helped someone out, but it's time to go because this could have been bad.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm out of here. So that's one of those moments where I was like, that could have ended up really badly for me, but I felt like in the moment I did the right thing. And I'm not going to talk about the moment that I had the dream about, but let's just say it's a moment where I was like, I should have done something. I could have done it this way, and I didn't do it this way. And what the result was is, no one got hurt, but I know someone was like mentally ruined for a little bit because I
Yeah.
could have done something. Have you ever had those moments? Have you had a moment
I'm
like that?
I'm sure I have. I mean, nothing off the top of my head.
Nothing that's like
Uh,
so like it stays with you because that moment has stayed with me truly like and I
yeah.
don't even myself and one of my best friends were involved in it. The other people that were involved I haven't seen in so many years, you know, don't have a relationship with, so maybe that makes it easier for me to go, it's whatever. You doesn't matter, but I still think about it. But I'm also psycho and I obsess over things. So naturally I
What,
beat myself up about it, but
what if we're putting a picture together of what Patrick looks like at this time, is this your emo phase?
no. No,
No. No.
not even close. No.
Okay. I'm just like
No.
I'm wondering like do we have our gauges in our ears? Do we have a lip ring in? Do we have any of this stuff going on at this time?
There's earrings, not gauges.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Okay. I'm
Uh,
just trying to complete the picture in my head because I have all
my
the rest of
hair,
it.
my hair might not have been my natural color, but you're talking about the situation that I regret or I wish I had done something.
No, I'm in my head I'm picturing like all of this going down and I'm picturing
So
everyone,
like
but I'm
the
trying to
mall thing,
picture
I was
what you
definitely
look
not in
like.
my emo phase for sure. The
Okay.
other
Okay.
situation, no, not really. I mean,
Okay.
it's approaching it probably, but yeah, yeah,
I guess what I'm
but
trying
yeah.
to figure out is like when the cops show up, do they think they're arresting you because of the way you look, or
Oh
have we
no, no, no,
reached any
no.
kind of part like that or not yet? Okay.
They had to do something because it was a disturbance
Yeah, I got
essentially.
you. I got you.
Like
Okay.
people crowded around, and again, nothing really physical happened other than me grabbing the kid by the shirt, really like looking at him like I something's gonna happen now. Like I will hit you,
Right.
that type of thing, because you're in my face now. But again, I'm not telling you the story because I'm tough. I could see that kid was struggling with dealing with it,
Yeah.
and I could see that he had no way out of it other than to walk away crying, walk away feeling like his day was ruined. And if
So
they
it's
did
not
get physical with him, I knew he wasn't going to defend himself.
so it's
You
not that
know?
you thought you should have done anything differently than the way you did it. Just a moment that has stuck with you since then.
Oh, it's always stuck with me, man. It's always stuck with me. And I'm to be honest with you, I'm glad I was by myself. I'm glad I wasn't with friends
Yeah, I
because
could
then
have
it
got all
really
out of hand
escalates
quick.
in
Yeah.
yeah, it escalates into somebody being arrested for real. And I'm not proud of that moment. I'm not telling you this either because I'm proud of it. It's always stuck with me. But I have those moments. And like, have you ever had like a humbling moment? Like a moment that truly was like, ugh, I suck. Like, I've been humbled to the point where I can tell myself that I suck and I need to stop bitching about my problems and I need to figure it out and I need to just get up tomorrow, work harder, be happier, do something differently. I have a moment, never going to forget it. I will go to my grave or into the sky or into the ground, whatever, knowing that this was I'm traveling, I'm in Oklahoma. I'm at the world's largest McDonald's, which is in Oklahoma. I don't know if you knew that fun
Okay.
fact.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm traveling doing music, right? And we sit down in this McDonald's with each of us having the $3 that we have to our names to get something to eat. And we're sitting down and I'm sure we're complaining about how things are going and we're probably not being positive about anything. I think it's just, one of those situations. And the reason that I know it was not a positive moment is because this guy walks in like a dirty construction. Like he looks like he just got off a fucking 14-hour fucking shift, dirty work boots, the whole thing, right? By himself, sits down, gets his meal, sits down, puts his tray down on the table. And I don't know why I was like watching this guy too. It's also creepy of me to like see this moment, but I caught it and it stuck with me. And again, I'm describing to you someone who probably works way too hard for probably shit money, but they're doing what they can to survive, right? He puts his tray down, sits down, takes like a big, like a sigh, like a big deep breath, like a fuck. It's finally over. I can eat, right? Puts his tray down, sits there for a moment, kind of looks into space, then cups his hands and he starts praying. Now I'm not a spiritual prayer guy by any means, but I watched this guy do that and I was like, I'm a piece of shit. I'm sitting here complaining about nothing. And this guy was like, I'm still going to take the time to pray after my 14-hour shift over my shit McDonald's. I'm still going to take the time to remember that there's a greater purpose or whatever he
Right.
does it for, right?
Yeah.
And I just watched the guy do it and I was like, I wanted to turn to everybody like, you motherfuckers seeing this? Shut up. But I
Right.
didn't. I just saw it and I was like, I'm going to keep that as a personal moment to remind me that you need to like be positive somehow
Yeah.
for the rest of the day, tomorrow, the next week. Find a way to be positive. It humbled me so much.
You know, now that you say that, it just made me think about, so you probably seen this kind of thing like when you played sports in school and stuff. Did
Yeah.
you ever see like another kid's parent that may show up to like games or something that would be like dirty shirt or dirty pants or something like they came straight from work to be at these
Yeah.
games and stuff? You know, you never think about that when you're a young kid. Or, you know, and if you see it, you may even think like, well, you know, they didn't even take the time to put on a clean shirt before they came to their kid's game or
Yeah.
something like that. But then you get our age now and you think about it and you're like, that's a
Makes
badass
sense.
parent, you know?
Yeah.
That's a parent that, you know, probably just worked a 16-hour shift and came to their
Right.
7 o'clock, you know, their kid's 7 o'clock basketball game or something like that. Yeah, I look at it now, I'm like, man, that's a badass parent. And that's the kind of parent I want to be, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, my dad was that parent, and he
Oh
was
yeah,
my
especially being
coach.
a firefighter. Hell yeah, I'm sure.
Well, not so much that. I mean, let's get real about something. Firefighters work 9 days out of the month. They're 24-hour shifts,
Oh,
but
okay, I gotcha. I
most
gotcha.
most firefighters have a second job, like my
Okay,
dad did.
I
My
gotcha.
dad did heating and cooling as well. So yeah, I mean, he would,
Oh, another again, another job
yeah,
that.
yeah. So he would show up, in the work van, dirty, but he was a coach when I was younger. That was when I was younger, like, elementary school, middle school. But
I got to
yeah,
thinking about this a minute ago when you were talking about having $3 to your name at McDonald's, and I don't know if we ever really talked about this or not. But was there a point where you told your parents like, "Hey, I'm gonna do music and I'm gonna go tour doing this"?
no.
There wasn't, so you just kind of
Mm-mm.
did it.
No, there was never that moment, man, because I was really confused about what I wanted to do, and no, there was never that conversation.
I
No,
was
it's
just
just
wondering, like, because I don't know, you know, any younger, you know, young kid, young teen, just out of high school or whatever, who decides they want to go on the road and do music. Like, I always wonder what the parents' scenario is there. Do they support it and like try to give a little bit of money here and there when they can to support what they're doing, or is it kind of like, well, if this is what you're gonna do, you're gonna have to find a way to do it on your own? Because you hear these dirt poor stories of touring musicians who are, you know, just making enough money at a show to buy their next meal kind of
yeah,
story, you know?
dude, it's so funny you ask that. So I was just talking to my wife about this. God damn, what were we watching? I can't remember. We were watching a music video of someone, and I don't remember why it even brought it out of me to bring it up to her. But it was total silence where just the music's happening. Our kids are already in bed. And I just turn out of the blue, like we're not even having a conversation. I just go, you know what? There are two kinds of people in this world that make it in music, right? And she goes, huh? I go, there are two kinds. I think we were watching, I can't fucking remember. And it's going to drive me nuts. But anyway, oh, now I know what it was. I'm sorry. Scott Storch was on Rogan's podcast. Do you know who Scott Storch is?
I don't. Sorry, guy. Who is he? He's a
Oh,
musician, I guess.
he's a producer. You're killing me, white guy.
Sorry,
He
man.
is a white guy, by the way. This is Scott Storch. Okay.
Doing
Still Snoop Dogg and D.I.
The production.
Okay, cool.
He was giving Rogan his backstory, how he even got into production, right? And how he came to be one of the most successful producers of all time. I mean, he's had thousands of hits under his belt, producing the beats. And it all started on piano for him. But anyway, his parents split. He moved with his dad. He was 15 and in high school. He hated school, and his dad basically gave him an ultimatum. do well in school, get a job, or you can't be in my house. Scott Storch said, peace. I want to do music. School's not for me. So I said this to my wife. There are two kinds of people who make it in the music industry. There are people like that guy who have the fuck it in them that
Mhm.
say, I'm going to scrounge up whatever money I have and I'm going to go out to LA. I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to go to Nashville. I'm going to do whatever and I'm going to make it. Right.
Mhm.
And then there are the people that have the support system, say like a Britney Spears, who the parents will do everything within their power to make sure they have every opportunity to be a star. And the middle ground is so
Doesn't make
shaky.
it. Doesn't
Is
make it.
so shaky, right? It's so shaky. So when you ask me, like, did I have that conversation? No. But I also didn't have the fuck it. I
Yeah.
was always worried about what the next move was. How would the next move be perceived by this group of people? And that's my fault. That's no one's fault but my own. But I didn't have either of those two. And I do really think that, like, majority of the time, that's the two type of people that make it in the music industry. So it's funny that you ask that. And I think it's really interesting to look about if you look at the history of some of these people who have made it, and not just made it in the sense like, oh, I had a hit song, but made it in the sense like, I had to sacrifice a lot and I had to put myself through a lot to get that hit song. It's very interesting to look at. Yeah, he was the example, but yeah, he was like, yeah, I was living on couches. I was going from couch to couch. I was scrounging
Well,
up
that
whatever money I
even
could. And
you know the stories that you hear, the ultimate fuck it too is like if you don't live in a New York or an LA or something like that, and you just have the fuck it to say, "Peace, I'm out. I'm going to do this," and you don't know anybody in LA or New
right.
York or anything like that,
No.
and you just, you know, you go with $47 in your pocket and you figure it out somehow. That is insane stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you see in movies, and you see like movies about music or television shows about music or entertainment. Like LA is a city full of people whose dreams have been shattered, right? Because people, there are
They
those
went,
people that
they
had the
went there,
fuck it, but
didn't they? Yeah. Hmm.
they didn't get lucky, they didn't have the talent, or both didn't happen at the same time. And
Hmm.
I actually had the first time I ever went out there, and that's the thing too, is I wasn't giving off this essence like I had the fuck it or like I wanted to make it. I was just like, well, let's see. What do you got to say? What's the offer? What can you do? Like
Yeah.
there was never like with out of me, there was never like, here's what I want you to do. Right.
Hmm.
Um, but the first time I went out there and I started meeting people out there, people would actually say not those exact words, but they would say like, yeah, this is full of people who didn't make it. It's just
Yeah.
now they're here. They didn't move. They're still trying to make it, or they just stayed here and they're happy with, not happy, but they're living their life away, being a server or being. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just
Yeah,
want
but
to say,
when you
like,
look at it, when you look at it that way, though, it also makes more sense when you hear these horror stories of these record deals that some of these bands took in their early days or whatever, and it's like, well, they if you have four or five guys together who can barely put a meal together, they're going to take whatever they can to try to get their foot started somewhere. Their
yeah,
foot.
and bands. I guess bands. It's kind of a different story, but at the same time, you hear the stories of Guns N' Roses and Metallica and Motley Crue and these guys that lived in the same one bedroom apartment, sleeping on the floor, eating white bread, and just literally their day consisted of waking up, eating whatever food they had, and then essentially going out on the town, putting up flyers, spreading the word of their band, and then at night playing a gig. And that just doesn't happen in a town like we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Be interesting if it did to see how many people out of the city would have made it that way because there would have been people who would have done that.
Well, I
But
mean, it had to have happened quite a bit though, still, right? Like back when the Galaxy and Mississippi Nights and
I mean,
everything was around.
yeah, but what are you really doing in St. Louis? You need to be somewhere else.
I gotcha.
That's why very few bands, and I'm saying bands, have been successful out of this city. There's a handful. And now, how
I
you
wonder
gauge
what.
success is different
Yeah.
than someone else does, but
I wonder what originally made places like New York and LA, what originally made them the hub for certain things? Just the large cities? Is that it?
Yeah, all the people, but you also you got to look at it this way too. You have for years and years and years, you were told that if you want to be a star in entertainment, those are the two places that you go. How are you going to deny it until you get there and find out?
Yeah.
And it just started. They both just started filling up. Well, in LA, you had Hollywood, so Hollywood is Hollywood.
Yeah, true.
But the
Yeah.
music scene in Los Angeles grew because of the entertainment scene. So all the big record labels built their empires there because they could be connected to the rest of the entertainment industry. New York was always like, and I never went to New York to play music, so I'm only speaking from I'm speaking on what I've been told, but New York was always sort of the more, I don't know, the more underground, more grimy, sort of like if you can go here and get attention and create a buzz, then you're really like at the forefront, like the people are behind you, right? You're
Yeah.
you're speaking for the people, you're playing the music for the people, whereas LA, you're like already selling your soul to the devil, whatever. Uh, Let me be honest with you. I would have done if you would have told me go here, go to LA, and everything will work out. I would have gone. If you would have said go to New York, I would. It didn't matter. However, I didn't have the right mindset like the one I'm talking about. So, but I don't regret any of that. You know, that's all part of my personality, and unfortunately, I think a lot of times my personality and my insecurities and my fears and whatever. But a lot of times it got in the way of what I actually wanted. But you know, it's a good lesson. Now I have kids that I can support and you know, I can tell them like, "Hey, what do you have? You already got the support.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you really want? You
Right.
got the fuck it? Because if you do, you got the support too."
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, man. Like if
Like
you can you build the perfect human being if they have the fuck it and you can give them the support on top of it,
if you
and
got the fuck it, I'll send you checks. I'll go out there. I'll send you I'll pay for your next meal. It's fine. You know? Prove it to me,
is
because I didn't have it.
is I mean, of course Nashville is like a huge hub for country music, but is it a pretty big hub for other genres also? Like right now?
Uh I think it's still, I mean, I think more so in the last 10 years, yes, but I think it's still, if you're a country artist, that's where you go. You don't go anywhere else.
Yeah, I
You go to
just wonder.
Austin,
I wonder
maybe.
with a lot of the cross genre music that they have now. I just wonder if that's going to eventually kind of
It could.
open up Nashville a little more.
It could. I mean, Austin's been called the music capital of the world. I don't
Yeah,
see it. And I mean no offense to Austin. I've been there several times. I don't really see it. And I've played South by Southwest is in Austin and I've been down there for that. And the feeling that I get, I don't even know how to say this without being insulting, but the feeling that I get from it is sort of like if you can, okay, if you do well at South by Southwest, you already have the attitude that you don't need anyone and that you're better than everyone. It's a very like snobby, weird thing that happens, but that can happen anywhere. So I don't
yeah,
even know why I'm saying this out loud. Sorry, Austin. Sorry, South by Southwest. Um, but dude, it's a weird fucking thing. It's a weird industry. It's weird, and I don't know 1/16th of what I should know about the music industry, you know? But neither do most,
right.
you know? And
Yeah,
that's could be the issue because they don't have the fuck it. You gotta have the fuck it.
they gotta have fuck it.
Gotta have the fuck it. You just got to.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
Well,
But that was
some
I'm glad you asked that question because I really did like two days ago have that conversation because that was an interesting when Rogan has someone like that on, I get really excited
yeah,
because he is good at listening to someone like that and just letting them tell their story without. I mean, obviously, he starts talking about cold plunges and fuck whatever. Like, do you take this for inflammation? Just shut up. Like, let this dude tell us how he ate fucking cheese in Philadelphia for fucking 2 years, and then he's in a studio with Dr. Dre. That's interesting. Like,
yeah,
but anyway, but so I get excited when he has someone like that on because there are stories like that. That I mean, if I had heard something like that when I was 18, I'd be like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. Now
Right.
it makes sense. But the social media didn't exist, and YouTube didn't exist, and
It's very true. Very true.
please,
I sent you the new 3 Days Grace track, the
yeah,
first song that's been released since Adam rejoined the band.
yeah,
And we were curious on how they were going to structure the band with Adam joining and also keeping Matt, the vocalist who had taken over when Adam left.
right.
So they have in this first song they have combined both of them, and I told you that I was actually pretty impressed because I feel like Matt brought his old voice back from My Darkest Days, and I feel like even some of the music has a My Darkest Days feel to it in this first song. So have you
Uh,
heard this song yet or no?
haven't listened to it. Wanted to save it for the show.
Okay,
So
it's very catchy. It is a very 3 Days Grace catchy song. I will give them that.
I mean, they're
So
pretty good at doing that.
yeah, so let's pull this up, and I'd like you let's let you listen to it and see what you think.
I'll tell you something. Sorry, but I'll tell you something that they've always done really well. What I really appreciate out of them musically, and it's why I like Life Starts Now record so much, their ability to give you a really catchy sort of intro distorted riff into really cool sounding clean riffs, which gives the singer so much room to work with. They're really good. They that formula, and I hate using the word formula, but that formula they have perfected. I think they're one of the better radio rock bands to do it, to be honest with you. They just know how to do it and know how to do it well, and it usually makes for their fan base and for, potentially someone who listens to the radio like, oh, I forgot about 3 Days Grace. What do they sound like now? Like this would be a good example of like, oh yeah, that's why I remember them. You know what I
Well,
mean?
see, yeah. So what I'm interested with this and them moving forward is like when each of them, if they're both going to be considered lead singers or however they're going to do it, like, are their songs going to be like passing lyrics back and forth, or is it going to be structured to where like if this was just one lead singer, would he be seeing the lyrics, like all of the lyrics in this song, but they're just switch, you know what I'm saying? They're just switching it back and forth between two people that could just be one person, or are they formulating these songs to where they can pass it back and forth between each other?
I mean, typically if you have a two vocalist band, that's what you do anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you have a lot of times like a Linkin Park dynamic where in the early stages Mike would just simply rap, kind of
Yeah.
add some background harmony, like some harmonies, but it works. And to be honest with you, 2024, it's not odd for people to see a two vocalist band and just kind of go, okay, normal. Let's hear it. Is it good?
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
it's definitely not a taboo thing, and it really did used to be because bands like Linkin Park broke and got truly successful. You saw a lot of bands come after that with two vocalists, and I think people started going, all right, all right.
We're gonna
I
deal with
didn't,
this now.
I didn't, but yeah, they're just like,
Yeah.
okay,
Gotcha.
this is cool. This is cool so far. Yeah, I can see what you're saying about his voice.
Yeah, that's not his 3 Days Grace voice. That is his
No,
old My Dark
that's
Days
him.
voice.
Yeah.
I like it though.
I mean, yeah, it's him.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Kind of gave us a modern type breakdown there. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Hmm. I feel
Cool.
like that riff might have been a riff off of the Life Starts Now record too. That
Well, don't do
dun
that to
dun
him.
da da
Don't
da
do
da.
that
Yeah.
to him, dude.
I don't know. I don't know. I also feel like Adam look like. Don't you think he looks really good? Like just
Uh,
physically. I don't know. There's just been time periods where he didn't look great.
Life of a rock star, bro.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Mhm.
So overall,
Uh,
overall, you like it?
yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's a good dynamic. I mean, if they do, well, that's what you do. I mean, if you have two good vocalists, let them trade chorus chorus lines and let them have a verse each or whatever. Split it up, however you want to split it up. But yeah, it works. Works for me. I mean, I think the thing with two vocalists always has been like on stage, live, and I think that's when people start going, ugh,
Oh, okay.
two of you, really?
Yeah.
You know, I play with a band that's fuck, what's their name? I gotta look at a flyer, a poster. Shit, it just escaped me. What the fuck? Oh, From Ashes to New.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I remember.
I play. Were you at that show?
No, I've never seen them live.
Oh,
I
okay.
just, I just remember the band. They had one big song that I really liked, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, yeah. So I played with them way before they ever sort of took off a little bit and got big on like Octane and started playing big festivals, and they had a different vocalist. They had two vocalists. One is still in the band, but the other one is not in the band anymore. But we had a really cool conversation with those guys because we had the band I was in. We had just done some things. This was after our trip to LA and meeting with some record labels, and we had a conversation with them about that because they knew some mutual. We had some mutual connections or whatever. Really cool dudes. But they were kind of just breaking down their story and talking about what their goals were and the vision for the band, this and that. And I remember at the time, the two vocalist thing then sort of was like, I guess people just sort of went, new metal, like, it's Linkin Park ripoff or it's whatever. And they were not that. They were definitely not a Linkin Park ripoff by any means, and they're not now, and they've become pretty successful,
Yeah.
as a band. But hearing their story about that, and they actually talked about that, um, the
It's got me wanting to look
perception
up that.
of being a two vocalist band and that whole thing. Cool guys, really
It's got me
cool.
wanting to look up that song. What was that big song that they had?
I mean, do they come into my feed every once in a while?
Yeah, I
Because
know.
they're
Same
really
here.
big. They're really active on social media.
I heard a music video.
God, this guy's voice is so good. So good. I want to point something out too. There's a whole segment of the internet and YouTube that would hear this and go, I mean, what about it? What's good about it? It sounds like everything else. Let me just make it clear to a lot of people who are questioning this. This is what gets people moving at festivals. This is what
Oh,
gets
for
people
sure. Yeah.
excited, you
Yeah.
know?
hmm
And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to stop myself there before I say something to contradict myself.
I wish I could write you something you could relate to, but with the shit you put me through, I'm kind of afraid to. You push all the blame on me like it's a way to escape from the reality that everyone.
And I like how this dude never gave up on the hip hop that aspect of it. Like, I'm just gonna keep fucking rapping. You deal with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is what we do. Just fucking deal with it.
It's you, no one can break through, and all you wanna do is a fake truth. Lying through your teeth like you were selling some fake news. Hoping everyone will play your games and embrace you, but all we wanna do is find a way to escape you. Run away, you'll never escape yourself. Foot in the grave. You drag the whole world down inside your gravity. It's a long way down from here. It's a long way down from here. I'd rather watch you drop than live inside the flame. It's a long way down from here. It's a long way down from here. There you go again, always making the worst of it. You push away your friends and you're always the first to quit. The thoughts in your head ain't nothing but turn.
Should we bring up Sick New World being canceled?
Have you,
Probably.
I've only seen one article about it. I just seen that it happened, so I don't know. It just said that it was unforeseen circumstances that we couldn't overcome. So I don't know what actually happened.
Yeah, who knows what that means.
I mean,
That's a
but
bummer.
for it being only 5 months away, that's pretty. That sucks.
In all, I mean, the other ones did sell out from what they've said. So I don't know. And this is the same from what we know again, and I'm not going to Google it because why would we fact check ourselves? The same production company that put on When We Were Young. So it's a bummer. And to be honest with you, the lineup for this one was really cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to go to. I mean, I would have gone to any of them. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if there's 2 or 3 that have happened so far. I think it's 2. But this one, I was like, oh, that is a perfect mix of everything I would want in a festival. Heavy, new metal. Not that new metals can't be heavy, but like heavier bands that weren't really known as new metal. Bands like Under Oath were playing it.
Yeah.
It was just a cool mix of, like, again, for me, everything I would want to see at a festival. So that's a bummer. That's a bummer. You sent me this list of we haven't we haven't pulled something from Loudwire in a while, so this is interesting. But the 10 best God tier rock songs of the 2000s. What rock songs from the 2000s do you consider God tier, in quotes, tracks? It was an interesting period for music. At the turn of the decade, new metal was just emerging, but pop punk and emo were on the verge of breakouts as well. Plus, you had several 90s holdovers still dominating rock radio despite not falling into any of those classifications. So, have you already looked at this list?
I have. I looked through all of the 2000s. I didn't see all of the 90s one, but I know they did both. So I can
So,
see.
let me ask you this. For the 2000s, any surprises on there?
Not really. I mean, there you could have I mean, if you're to bring it down to just 10 songs is kind of hard. There's a couple that I probably could have changed, but I still
I would.
also agree with some, that they could put them on there too, I guess.
Well, I have not looked at the list yet, so let me give you my opinion after. Evanescence, Bring Me to Life, ginormous song. I
It
mean,
was.
I don't like that song. However, I understand why you would say, yeah, it's one of the biggest songs of the 2000s. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters, All My Life. Now, you know what I would have put instead of this?
Another Foo Fighter song, you mean?
Yeah,
Which one?
Pretender.
I could see that.
But All My Life, commercially speaking, was bigger for them.
Mhm.
And when they play this live, people go fucking apeshit.
I bet.
So, okay. Linkin Park, In the End, again. I get it. It's one of the biggest songs of all time.
Right.
But
Not our favorite song from the record by any means,
No.
but as far as how
No.
big it actually was, yeah.
yeah, this one I don't like at all. Welcome
not a
to the
fan of
Black
this one.
Parade.
Yeah.
Really? Mychem? Again, no disrespect. Insanely. And this is what I don't like about it, and this is what I always hated. It's like it's been described as Mychem's Bohemian Rhapsody. Why?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand.
Why? And also, if you're a band, do you really want people saying that about your song? I guess maybe you do when it's selling, but after
Yeah.
it's not selling, do you really? I don't know. It's a weird. I'm just
Well,
being a hater.
this says it's because it's an epic track that starts with somber piano notes, but has several stylistic shifts, including moments of feverishly paced rocking and triumphant sing-along vocals.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of that song. I'm not a fan of that reg. I don't like Mychem. Never been a fan.
I like
but
Mike Kim, but I'm not a massive diehard like a lot of people are.
no. How You Remind Me, Nickelback. Okay.
Is it? Do you think, is that off the same record as Photograph?
I don't think so.
Is that before
I think
Photograph?
that was before.
Photograph.
Yeah, that was before. Yeah.
Actually, that was quite a bit way before Photograph.
Let's face it. If you were alive in the 2000s, you couldn't escape this song. It was the most played song at U.S. radio for the entire decade. It's also Nickelback's most performed song by a large margin. The track has been featured in Guitar Hero, has ties to the Deadpool 2 movie, and was part of the joke in a Saturday Night Live sketch. Papa Roach, Last Resort, that's a given.
I can see that. Yeah.
That still today has so many like when we're talking about like pop cultural references, it's still to this day. Like people still talk about it. I actually think it's like picking up more steam now than it did when it first came out. I know that
Really?
sounds crazy to say. Yeah, dude, because I feel like it represents a moment in time, especially for white kids.
I mean, do you think like that Jarris John? Well, it says right here actually, but that Jarris Johnson collab kind of helped with that too.
Yeah, you will, sure. Fine. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Paramore, Misery Business, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And again, you could have picked one or two other songs from Riot,
Business.
their
Yep.
2007 record, I think.
Or
You
yeah,
could've said,
but
yeah,
I
sure.
meant-
But Misery Business was the biggest one.
Yep.
And I don't have a problem with that one. I agree. This one I have a problem with, without
do
a
too.
doubt.
Yeah.
I don't like this version of the Chili Peppers, Californication. No, Not
So
for
is there
me.
any Red Hot Chili Peppers from the 2000s that you would have picked?
No.
Or you just say
No.
no Red Hot Chili Peppers at
I
all?
say no to the Chili Peppers in the 2000s period. I like them. I love the Chili Peppers.
This might be a dumb song,
Um,
but was Californication bigger than Scar Tissue? Probably was, right?
they were both really big,
Yeah.
and I disliked both of them. I didn't like either song. What song is
So
that?
this song was fucking huge.
What song is
And it's
that?
still played all the time. I mean, I would tell you to pull it up, but I know you won't.
I
But
want to now
it was
because I truly don't know what it is.
you'll know it for sure.
I don't want it stuck in my head, so I'm not going to play it. Holy shit. Was that the last one? Yeah, this
Yeah,
one
no,
I totally disagree with.
yeah, don't like it.
So if
The
we're
White Stripes,
talking,
Seven Nation Army.
I'm just always going to disagree with the White Stripes being important to anything. So I apologize because I know
So
that makes me a hater, but
so
can we go hip hop this week?
sure. We haven't in a
All right,
while.
since you taught, well, I did by myself. I want to go like, I want to pick something that no one, like, people would just go, what the fuck is that? Like, but then there's a part of me that's like, well, it's got to be something that at least 20 other people remember, right?
Oh, okay.
So this was
Oh,
on a
okay.
soundtrack for a movie called Panther, came out in the 90s. Hip hop song. Well, obviously, hip hop record, hip hop soundtrack as well. But this song features Biggie, motherfucking Coolio, Redman, Busta Rhymes, and Bone Thugs.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you something right now. If you heard the name Coolio, you're listening to this and you heard the name Coolio and you said, he does not belong, you stop it right now and wait till this man
Just wait
spits,
till you hear
okay?
it? Okay.
This dude fucking gets it, all right?
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
I went from construction Tims to axe with rings, flipping mixtapes to bitches feeding me grapes, keep my mind state. Big Papa flow is lethal, that weed make my ass wanna kill for the evil. Fuck the game, give me the game and the range. My niggas up the bar, drop top Jaguars. Rock on you when you step in the car. That's that superstar status apparatus. More wins than catches. C's roll the hats in the pocket with the line. Roll up the whole dime as my seats recline. I won the presidential rolling, so I crush MCs the guacamole, making Robin scream, holy moly. Big Papa, fuck a cape, I'm that paper crusader, playing Sega in a wide body
I
blazer.
shot dice with a reason, drank yak with a passion, so it's me, myself, and I love my own Lord and Master. When your ass was born, it was all on the loan, and when it's time to die, you'll be all alone. So open up your mind, ball up your knuckle bone, and start taking care of your own, nigga. Everybody's human with the nature of a sinner, so I look inside myself to gather strength from the inner. I got to fight back against the powers that be, cause the powers that be trying to fight me, standing at the crossroads, but I wasn't by myself. Some take the right and some take the left, but lo and behold, what do I see in the distance? Some resistance.
Coolio murdered that shit. Everybody can fuck off. All right? Dude. I just love this era too for the beats, man. This beat is
Yep.
so good. It's so good. And when you're younger and you're hearing this too, and I often think this too, and not just about hip hop, to be honest with you. I think about it for all music, but when younger kids hear, something like this, or something that's metal or something that's punk or whatever, and I really do hope they hear it in a way that moves them like it did me. Um, and do you ever question like people don't listen to music the same way today as they did, say, however many years ago, because it's so accessible and because it's just a timeline
Absolutely.
thing and it's like
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom in your face. Like you don't even stop to listen to the whole thing. And like,
Dude, I mean, we can say it till we're blue in the face, but there was something about being able to just go and buy a CD and then taking it home and pulling out that little booklet that comes with it and just listen to the CD front to back.
how about this?
There was something about
Being
that.
how about this? Being in a record store and they used to have listening booths.
See, I didn't have anything like that around me, but that would be badass.
Do you know how insane that was? Like I lived for that.
Yeah.
Lived for that. And I felt like a shithead if I didn't buy anything. I was like, I feel like they think I'm just abusing the privilege of being able to like listen to a new song and then walking out and be like, well, when I have the money, I'll come back and buy it. But
Is there not like do record stores in St. Louis and stuff? Do they not do anything like that anymore?
I mean, I have one right by my house. Shout out to Euclid Records. I want to say that they still do. I haven't been in there in a year. And to be honest with you, if I go in there, it's not to listen to anything. It's like to find something nostalgic or
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
need to. I hope they do because that's still fun. I mean, but who knows? I don't know if anybody gets off on that anymore.
Yeah.
Just the ability to like, ooh, something's new, or oh fuck, I haven't heard that forever. Let me listen to it real quick. I have no idea. But I'm sure like people that worked at those stores like these fucking kids, get out of here. Like hold up the booth. Like then there were like you have like 5 minute max. Get out. We're gonna kick you out. We're gonna kick you out or whatever. But anyway.
Yeah.
It's that folk dully. Folk out the spot and hull it. Fuck the best. Niggas better start putting no helmets. I roam the streets where there's no peace, relax. Folk coming in stacks. Bullets coming from gaps. So I duck. Lyrical buck get stuck. I'm jamming like suckers for all you motherfuckers that cross the ruckus. Then I fix a few stitches. What out? Plus my style rock like new bitches. I throw it, high punches, spit the flame like you came, burning your membranes when the wind changed. Not explicit with splitting my scriptures, leaving your mic bony like that tells of the crit bitch. All y'all niggas suck my balls one time while I unwind. I'm busting your ass counterclockwise. I get dumb, but dumber while your vision blurred for all the news.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Yeah, it's depressing.
I mean,
I mean, you can put together what it's about, right?
yeah, it's the Black Panthers.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Mayday, mayday,
Not that
raise
hard.
the white flag, let the pants sag, fuck the drag. Fuck the whole bag, low down and I'm low key. The OG niggas know me, so take it easy, let's get it.
It ain't surprising, these motherfuckers still waiting. They must don't know, I ain't that nigga to be played with. It's been stated way back in 88 that a nigga like Mike could stump the head of a snake. Like quake was felt when my feet hit the ground and face fell.
Yeah, I didn't even say everyone that was on it. So this is Big Mike. You also had Scratch, dude. So 1995.
Buckshot?
Fuck. Yeah, dude. You had so many people on the song. That's why it's so long.
When my
We're gonna make it
feet
through,
made
though.
a sound. Now, how many non-believers gonna fall when my niggas make the fucking final call? We still
No sunshine, it ain't no sunshine. It's like yeah, 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 yeah. It's like that. Hey, you! Don't you dare give me no type of argument. All these devils are mad because we be the most dominant. Hey, hit you with fatness.
Top 5. Dude, it's crazy.
Represent my blackness. Run up on devils like a savage in pursuit of happiness. You better believe every time we come hard. The undisputed truth is that the black man is God. Now every time I turn around, my people start subtracting. They cause this shit and they wonder why we start overreacting. Hey, 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 you can pick and choose it. Right before you lose it, I'ma hit you with my music. I'm frying up shit sizzling like cyanide. Watch me go inside. Please give me room, yo, step aside. Ha! Those who commit the ultimate crimes. Bitches run around like snitches out there dropping dimes. Get your shit drawn about my hammer. Yo, survivalists represent the next Black Panther.
I stepped in the jam with the guard on my side, and the guard ST is still waiting in the ride. So I step to the DJ and tell the DJ, yo, throw the wax on. How many MCs must get down?
Putting your shit to the pavement and I'm meeting the gauge.
Oh, shit.
The right price days, gotta play the amazing, never been faced by all my deadlifts. With the brothers, rugged, never to take no losses. Put them all in the coffin, get killed, get fall, get it wrong.
Remember the psychopath, but I with the fuck in the blast. So give him a chance. You niggas if you're in my song, don't do me the rest, the best, the blast. So if you're thinking of kicking it, the best, be back at your shit, your bitch. I didn't make the friends, cause who you never the players. They only but what's going on, what's up? Can they think of the thing that they try to get to us, they play in this death match. Ten, discover another, they go with the brother, a sucker, bring over, they cover, and live and make it as they go, make it cover, but do it a second, it's going to the
I'm to the
There's
point in
no-
my life where I
there's
laugh
no-
at Busy Bone, but it's all out of
Okay,
love.
there's no doubt when Bone Thugs are on.
No doubt at all.
There's no mistake.